Good morning, Unity on the River. Let's swing wide the doors and let the Spirit in. 1, 2, 3. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I've learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming loud and clear. I've got to shine my light. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Come on, swing wide the doors and let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Here we go. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Yeah. Beautiful, you sound beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna stay in this open feeling. Let's open up to the Spirit. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the One. Open up to the Spirit. Let thy will be done. All of the promises I pray are pouring on me every day when I open up to the Spirit. Open up. I've got a body power that makes me whole. Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the One. Open up to the Spirit. Let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray are pouring on me every day. When I open up to the Spirit, open up. Way deep inside me, well, there's a light I know, and it's piercing the darkness where I sometimes go. When I'm blind, I've lost my way. Oh, I cannot see God's face. Oh, but I feel that light come shining with a love that won't let go. Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the One. Open up to the Spirit. Let Thy will be done. All of the promises I pray are pouring on me every day. When I open up to the Spirit, open up. Let's go up. Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the One. Open up to the Spirit. Let Thy will be done. With all of the promises I pray, they're pouring on me every day. I open up to the Spirit. Open up to the Spirit. Open up to the Spirit. Open up. Open up to the Spirit. Oh. So we hold this resonance in our bodies, and we join hands with the person next to us, and we sing Surely the Presence as we are able to stand. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Let us pray. Surely the presence of the Lord is here because God exists in each and every one of us. God exists as each and every one of us. We are the embodiment of the divine. God's grace, God's power, God's love, it exists and flows in, through, and as us. And today we come together to honor that, to remember that, to deepen into that, to expand that, and in so doing be a voice for divine inspiration and transformation in the world. And to this we say a hearty yes and amen. And so it is, and so we let it be. You may be seated. Good morning. Welcome to Unity on the River. In case we have not met, I am Reverend Ogun Holder, Senior Minister Thrilled to see you all coming out in this chilly of chilliest days and keeping each other warm with your love, with your smiles, with your thick jackets. Because let's be clear, that's the only thing that keeps us warm, really, is the thick jackets. Indeed, we are the embodiment of divine, as I like to say. If we ever want to see, experience the face of God, we simply turn to another, because we are all that. Turn to someone and say, hey, God looks good today. Indeed, God does. And God looks good with our facilitator, Gina Janess. Thank you, Gina, for helping us out today.
Good morning. I'm Gina Janess. Welcome to Unity on the River. I'll be facilitating this morning for Reverend Ogun. And first, we are a church that live streams, so could we say good morning and hello to our streamers? Give a little wave. Good morning. Back there where you're warm. So I'd like to also welcome today anybody who's here celebrating with us for the first time. If you are new today, would you raise your hand and our ushers will bring you a packet and a flower? Someone in the back. Welcome. Thank you. So that flower will give you some percentage, 10% off in the bookstore after service today, and there's information there. There's a spiritual resource center through those doors after service. If you have any questions, welcome. Please know we welcome all paths to God, and we are blessed by your presence here today. So Unity on the River is a center of celebration, transformation, inspiration, spirit-centeredness, oneness, and joy. Please hold these truths in your heart as we say together our mission statement. We are a vibrant spiritual community that celebrates the presence in all and awakens humanity to its divinity. And our vision statement, centered in love, we joyously co-create a world of oneness, peace, and harmony. I have some brief announcements this morning. We have New Members Sunday, which is coming up on January 20th. If you believe you may be eligible or have questions regarding your eligibility or the classes required for membership, please see Peter Stringham after service. He'll be in the Spiritual Resource Center. Unity on the River will be providing space for a foster care awareness information session. This is coming up on Thursday, January 24th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It's going to be hosted here by the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. For more information, please see the flyers, which are also in the Spiritual Resource Center. And also coming up Saturday, January 26th at 9 o'clock, it'll go till 12 with me. Compassionate communication. This is an opportunity to find some new strategies to work with when you find yourself triggered or upset by something that you hear or see or stuff. How do you unwind that? And I will talk about strategies for that. So I hope to see you there. I hope you can join me. And now's the time in our service where we greet each other in namaste with either a handshake or a hug. And I invite you to say, I see you, I see your beauty, I see your magnificence, I see the divine in you.
Today we welcome one of our own, Lucian Parkin, who's going to play a beautiful song called Sophia. It's about wisdom, the divine wisdom. And you might not be able to stay in your seats for this wisdom.
all 70 trillion cells of me getting 1,000 pieces of information a second, right?
That's right.
So this song is to, well, the patriarchy decided that the moon was the man. That's not so. So we're going to claim it back. Sophia forever, the queen of love's time, peace, and a moon. What syllable upon your lips gives you that longing eye? Could it be you're saying a prayer tonight? Sophia forever, mornings in your mind's eye. While that lucky old sun, he's just too lazy to rise. You're turning up the sheets on the beach, tucking all the big holies little creatures in bed with a big wet kiss for their sleepy heads. Sophia, the paths of all our star-crossed, lonely hearts are met in your darling footsteps. Sophia, who could but help but fall in love to hear the cooing of Aphrodite's doves on a wing out of your smoky mirror. Sophia, forever I'm a cow freak, tree hugger I'll always be. I hear the harmony of spheres, hobnobbing with the forest flowers. The frozen tears of your eighth ocean will be shed in the 11th hour. Bring an umbrella, we'll be in for a shower. Sophia, the paths of all our lone star-colored love went in your darling footsteps. Oh, Sophia, who could but fall in love to hear the cooing of Aphrodite's doves on a wing out of your smoky mirror? These guys, amazing.
Thank you, Lucian. Nice, more blues, more blues. Oh my goodness. Good morning. So, today we are going to embark on a journey. It's a bit of a throwback journey. Some of you who've been in Unity for years what I'm going to start talking about today and over the next few weeks, you might not be a stranger to, but I don't know about you guys, but for me, it never hurts to hear it again. It never hurts to revisit a concept we think we know well again, because here's the thing, we may not have, or we may have rather, first encountered this unity idea of the 12 powers, a few years ago. We understood it then. But guess what? We are not now who we were then. We have changed, we've evolved, we've grown, we've deepened, we've peeled back some layers. So now, when we get to revisit these things, we're approaching it from a different place, a different understanding, a deeper understanding. For some of us, it might be the first time we're hearing about these 12 powers. 12 powers, what craziness is he talking about? Hang on for the crazy. You're going to understand what it is. The 12 powers is one of Unity's, I think, most unique and empowering teachings, concepts, ideas. A lot of people always ask, how do you do the spiritual unfolding thing? How do you do the expanding? How do I take these teachings that I hear about on Sundays, or read in books, or listen to podcasts to, or watch on TV? How do I take these and actually make them apply in my everyday life and moments? And the 12 powers is one of these, I think, awesome how-tos. I don't know if you know this, but Unity's first name or tagline was Practical Christianity. Christianity, again, simply meaning based on the teachings of Jesus, or we're sure the example, and practical because we just don't have to practice it, but it's got to make sense and it's got to work. We got to be able to use it. It's no sense having a spiritual teaching that we don't understand and can't use for our growth and our evolution. Practical Christianity. So the 12 powers, our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, this is one of these concepts that he came up with. And basically the idea is that these 12 powers are innate abilities, spiritual gifts, facets of the divine, if you will, that we can tap into, that we can use in our daily lives, not just for the big, vast concept we call spiritual transformation, but simply to make our lives better and lighter and happier from moment to moment. So there are 12 of them. I'm not going to cover all 12 today. Over the next few weeks, I'll cover, a few at a time. We touched on them briefly, like I mentioned, at the Christmas Eve candlelight service. I'm going to expand on them some more. And then you're in for a treat, because one of Unity's teachers, someone who is no stranger to some of you, Reverend Paul Hasselbeck, who has written and taught extensively on the 12 powers, will be here the second weekend in February. And he's going to do a class that's starting from Friday night, Saturday, after church on Sunday. He'll also be speaking, and he's going to really delve into these 12 powers. So if you really want to get a deeper understanding, I mean a really deeper understanding from someone who is one of my greatest teachers, please sign up for Paul's class. And if you don't want to sign up for the class or can't make the time for the class, we got 2 great books. I'm shilling the bookstore today. 2 great books here. Divine Audacity by another great Unity minister, Reverend Linda Martella Whitsitt, and one by Paul himself called Power Up. 12 Powers Revisited as Accelerated Abilities. So these are in the bookstore today. Check them out and dive in and follow along with me. And the great thing about some of these books, not some of them, both of these books, there are exercises you can do on your own, meditations, different things. You've got to, again, practice. Now here's the first thing I want you to understand about these 12 powers. These 12 powers are what we call neutral. And when I say neutral, they're not attached to how you use them at all. These are innate to each and every one of us. We can use them consciously or unconsciously. We can use them for good or we can use them for not good. It doesn't matter. They are neutral. If you don't understand what I mean by that, take this example. Take a chair, for example. A chair. We all know what a chair is, right? Yeah, I'm having some confused looks. I'm just checking in. A chair. What can you do with a chair? Sit in it. You can sit and meditate in a chair, right? You can do that. Now, if, like me, you don't happen to have a platform handy, and you want to make a proclamation about we need to be a voice for equality, and we need to be a voice for women's empowerment, and we need to be a voice for change, so let's all go march on Saturday in a women's march. We can use a chair as a stage. We can take a chair and pick it up and weaponize it and throw it. Yeah. No. The chair may not be attached to how you use it, but I am. Okay? The chair is neutral in all of this. Chair doesn't care. Chair has no feelings. Same thing with these powers, okay? We have them, and again, we can use them unconsciously, or we can use them consciously to become the embodiment, fuller, deeper embodiment of the divine that we are. And the first part we're going to start with is the power of understanding. It kind of speaks for itself because we got to understand them, right? But the power of understanding is the ability, straightforward, to comprehend knowledge, to comprehend, interpret knowledge. And again, we can use this from an unconscious, like human ego place and make our decisions about how we understand things based on past beliefs and based on thoughts and based on feelings, things that I personally have experienced to be kind of fickle and unreliable. Or we can apply understanding from a divine place, from a deeper core Christ consciousness place of ourselves. And when we do that, we get a different experience of it. At a human level, understanding is just kind of based on our intellect. We learn stuff, we know stuff, and that's the framework from which we understand everything else. But when we approach it from a divine place, there's something deeper that happens. It's not relying on intellectual knowledge. It comes from a much different place. It transcends that. Sometimes we've experienced this when we have bursts of realization about things and we don't realize, wait, how did I know that? Turns out I was right about that. I just had this intuitive hit. That's understanding. And we can consciously develop that and practice that and learn to follow it. It really comes out through the intuition. How many of us can readily recognize and follow our intuition? I know that I am still working on it. Great example. The other day, a couple months ago, last month, time's flying, man. This is last month. I started working with a new personal coach. And I drive over to her office, I park the car, and as soon as I'm about to turn the car off, I get this really intuitive hit about, don't park right here. You know, and I'm like, in that moment, well, this is kind of silly. She has a home office. She's got a little office attached to the side of her house. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to park in front of somebody else's house to go to her. I'll be fine. So I go in, I do the session, and I come back out, and a giant branch has fallen out of the tree. I'm fine, thanks. Just the car. It landed smack dab in the roof of the car, big dent. Again, I'm fine. It's just the car. It's why we pay insurance. It's all fixed up. It's all great. We don't, you know. So, but again, this inconvenience in my life could have been avoided had I followed the intuitive, not based on any facts around me, to follow this, you know. And again, part of that understanding, that deeper understanding, is again, big picture, as I'm intonating, I'm fine, thanks. It's just a car. It's just a thing. And it got fixed, it's fine, everybody's happy. Deeper understanding. The next power that we can look at beyond understanding is love. And one of the things that is crucial to understand and bring from that divine place of who we are is the concept of what love really means and how it works in our lives. Love, for me, is one of the most powerful of the powers. It's the ability to harmonize, to unify things, and the power to attract as well. This is important on a lot of levels. The unification level is great because how many of you are familiar with the Enneagram? Any Enneagram fans in the house? Okay, for those of you, a little inside baseball, I'm a type 9 on the Enneagram. A lot of Unity people tend to be. And the crux of the type 9s is we are the kind of people who find the middle ground. We can see both sides of things. We tend to unify. And to do that, we have to tap into our power of love. The other thing about type 9s are when we're not healthy, we are just horrible conflict avoiders. And again, though, the reason we avoid conflict is because we think if we don't speak up, we won't create conflict and we won't break the harmony. Okay? When you play that out, that's not a healthy way to approach things. So the constant striving, my constant striving as a type 9, is to tap into my power of divine love and use that to know when it's appropriate for me to be silent and compassionate or be vocal and compassionate. The power of love to attract is at the basis of things like the law of attraction and the law of mind action. How many of you heard of the law of attraction? Okay, right. So you have this idea of the law of attraction, which kind of says when we focus on things, we attract them into our lives. I prefer to think of it this way. Not so much that we attract things or people, because everybody's got free will, but rather we attract ourselves to those things. Okay? This is the power of love within us. When we get clear about what we want to experience, we find ourselves being drawn or attracted to situations and people that respond to that. But here's the thing, where are we making that choice from? Are we making it from our human level consciousness, our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs based on past experiences? I don't know about you guys, but if I had to make all my present day choices based on past thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, I'd never have a phone conversation with my mom again. Hi, Mom, love you. She tried her best. She really did. I've come to a place of accepting that. Just the other day, she said to me, I don't know what you're complaining about. You turned out fine. I did something right. I said to her, no, therapy did something right. Lots and lots of therapy. That's what got me to the place of fineness. And these spiritual teachings as well. To realize that even within myself, I have to tap into the power of love to create harmony within myself. The inner conflicts that we feel, the inner divisions that we feel, the inner struggle we feel is disharmony. Sometimes it has a place when we've attached ourselves to new teachings or learned new things, and we have to let go of our old ways, and it's frightening, because you got to realize sometimes, as maybe limiting as old beliefs are, they hold us back. They're comfortable because it's what we know. Vulnerability is very uncomfortable. But as we know from so many teachings by so many people and from our own experience, the only way we will ever experience true connection is to be vulnerable, to be open. And to say, but we say to ourselves, but when we're vulnerable, we risk being hurt. Well, you only risk being hurt, again, if you don't get a full understanding of how love works. Nothing and no one can hurt you. Nothing and no one is against you. And everything that happens in your life, as I always say, and I will always say, so if I keep saying it and you keep hearing it and you get tired of me hearing it, I apologize, but everything happens in our life as an opportunity for us to show up as God. It's the only reason. Only reason. If you ever ask yourself, this is happening in my life, what does it mean? Why is it happening? There's only one answer. It's an opportunity for me to show up as God. Opportunity for me to show up as God. How that looks can depend on how we use these 12 powers. That intuitive understanding that comes through in any given moment, or realization that here we are to be the embodiment of love. Let's go on to the next one, wisdom. Ooh, this is a nice one. Wisdom is often used in conjunction with love. Can you imagine why? Because if love is the ability to harmonize and bring things together and attract things to ourselves, you might want to take more of a wise approach to what you say you want to bring into your life. Wisdom is the ability to apply what we know and to intuitively discern and judge how to make decisions. Originally, this power was called judgment. And quite naturally, because of how the word judgment has fallen into kind of a negative concept, we tend not to use the word judgment anymore. We use wisdom. But when you look at the word judgment in and of itself, it simply means we're making an informed decision. We can take it deeper and use the word discernment. To discern is a process that comes from deep within. We spend some time in the silence. We spend some time in meditation. We check in with ourselves. We discern the choices that are placed before us. And we can make a wise choice about how to use our power of love, about how to follow the intuition that comes up through understanding. So judgment in and of itself, not a bad thing. Remember, all these powers, neutral. They don't care how we use them. Now, you can take the power of wisdom and judgment and become overly condemning and overly controlling. You can do that if you want, but how's that going to work out for you? How many of you are parents and have certain thoughts about what your kids should be doing with their life? This is a rhetorical question. You need to put your hands up, especially if your parent's in the room or your child's in the room. I didn't mean to set this whole thing up. Sorry, I'm just... What perfect timing, he says. I'm not taking sides. I'm just totally neutral here. Right? We have some thoughts. We want to control lives, and then we find ourselves in the reverse position when we are children and our parents are very old. And we're like, this is what you should be doing now. And this is what you should, we want to exercise our judgment on other people's lives. My life would be so much better if they would just. Right? That thought ever run through anybody's mind? Oh, now you don't want to put your hands up? Okay, fine. I'll just say it. I'll claim it. No problem. No problem. Okay? But that's not divine wisdom. That's not divine discernment. The tagline for all these powers is when we use them from a conscious place, it enables us to be the highest and best version of the God that we are meant to be. You're going to hear that a lot when Paul comes to teach these classes. When you come from a conscious level, the whole point of it is that in every moment, it empowers us to be the highest and best version of our divine self that we can be. That's where we come from a place of divine wisdom. And by the way, probably no accident, let me say this again, probably no accident, that in all the world's major religions, when we look at the embodiments and the personages of wisdom, they're female. He sang about Sophia today. Even in the Judaic tradition, they talk about the Holy Spirit, but you know what it was kind of before then? It was also feminine. It was called Shekinah, the embodiment of God's wisdom. No accident is female, because let's face it, guys, we don't rely so much on wisdom that much. It's kind of let's fix it, right? Let's fix it, guys. But sometimes there's a little bit deeper wisdom in just stepping back, discerning what is ours to do before springing into action. And then when we decide to spring into action, then we can tap into our power of power, or dominion, not domination. That's a typo. That's a huge typo. Thank you. Now, listen, hey, I blame no one for that. That could very well be my fault, but my notes got dominion. It could have been something lost in translation. I will take responsibility for that. Domination is what happens when we don't use our power of power wisely. We want to become domineering and controlling. Boy, that was awkward. But we just rolling on. Dominion. Power and dominion. Thank you. Thank you, Mickey. Close enough. Yeah, that's right. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, this will be the only moment of this talk you'll remember, but that's all right. Go back and watch the whole thing on YouTube. Dominion is our power to master, to control. And again, these words, master, control, dominate, they get a negative context because we often use them negatively, even within our own lives. I want to control what's happening right now so nothing changes and I don't feel uncomfortable. I want to control what's happening so I don't feel the pain of rejection and the pain of loss. I want to control. We say we don't want to, but sometimes our thoughts, actions, and beliefs reflect differently. But the power, when we use it from that divine place, dominion and power is really about mastery of these spiritual teachings, to apply them to our lives so that we don't live in fear, so we don't live in separation. The only thing we need to master, again, spiritual teachings and our thoughts. And how do we master our thoughts? By living the spiritual teachings. It's kind of like one of them infinity loop things. Master the spiritual teachings, we master our thoughts. We master our thoughts, we master the teachings. We don't live in the past. We're not directed and regulated and controlled, again, by fear and past beliefs of hurt and rejection. No. In each and every moment, we ask, what is ours to do as divine beings? What is the power that is asking of me to call forth right now to be through this? And one of the number one ways we exercise our power of dominion is through our words, through our speech, what we say to other people. Do we use our words as love, or do we use them as weapons? So here's a thing I want you to remember when you are now using your words moving forward. Remember the 3 P's: positive, passionate, and proactive. Positive, passionate, proactive. Say that with me. Positive, passionate, proactive. Again. Positive, passionate, proactive. Positive. Let our words always be positive. Passionate, as in coming from the heart. And proactive, as in being clear about the expectations we have when we use these words. Because as spiritual people, sometimes we use positive, passionate words to try and get other people to change. We use positive, passionate words to highlight how they are wrong and I'm right. Okay? What is the intention? What is the expectation? Are we giving apologies because we're truly sorry? Or are we giving apologies for other reasons? Are we given with no regard of return or expectation with what the person does with what we give? Or are we given and go, well, how could they do that with what I gave them? Just me, right? Just okay. Oh, it's all good. I don't mind putting myself out there. Positive, passionate, proactive. When we live these powers from the divine place of who we are, through an expanded consciousness, we view the world differently. Again, we see everything that happens as an opportunity, for us to be that presence of the divine. We sing it every Sunday. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Well, guess what? It wasn't there before you showed up. It was there when you showed up, as you. That's the only presence of God you ever need to worry about. that you ever only need to evoke, that you ever only need to come to a place of understanding about. How in this moment, in this situation, in this relationship, in this conversation, in this place of unemployment, in this place of death and loss, in this place of joy and rapture, in each and every place, how am I the presence? How am I one of these powers? How am I understanding? How am I love? How am I wisdom? How am I dominion? So as we continue over the next few weeks, we'll delve in some more to the rest of these powers. Go buy the books, go sign up for the class, because here's why. Here's why. You know, I am 100% not responsible for your spiritual transformation. I'm not. Whose spiritual transformation am I responsible for? My own. Whose spiritual transformation are you responsible for? Exactly. Now, I'm going to love you regardless, and I will love for you to transform along with me. I figure that's why all you're showing up here Sunday. Well, I mean, the music, but I figure other than the music, that's why all y'all showing up here Sunday. That's why you're watching every Sunday online, because you've realized that there's more to life than just saying, oh, that's happening, and I am powerless and I'm a victim. No, you've realized on some level, whether it be just the beginning inklings of it, or you fully grasped it, that everything is God, and God is you. And it's up to each and every one of us to make that our reality, so that this reality changes. Let's take this into meditation. So if you're comfortable, I invite you to take a deep breath. Gently close the eyes, plant the feet on the floor. Just rest the hands gently in the lap. And for a few minutes, just breathe. No slower, no faster, just as the body would have you breathe right now. If you're not comfortable closing the eyes, perhaps just affix your gaze on one of these candles up here and just watch the light flicker. Either way, let your attention now turn to the inflow and outflow of breath, and allow that to center you. From this centered place, from this place of true surrender to our Christ nature, to that divinity flowing in through and as us, we embrace the truth that we are beings of power. We embrace the truth that the fullness of all that is God is present at the point of me, of each and every one of us. Through the powers of my divine self, I am made whole. Through the power of my divine self, I am made whole. Through the power of my divine self, I am made whole. Let us rest in this affirmation for a few moments in the silence. Through the power of my divine self, I am made whole. Let us take this affirmation, hold it in our hearts. For all the names, for all the circumstances, for all the requests in our prayer box. Let us hold that these individuals remember the truth of who they are. And that in the midst of the circumstances that surround them, they are God's power made visible. Should you hold that intention for anyone else in your life, I invite you to say their names out loud. In so doing, we express a prayer of affirmation for ourselves and for them. We are all God's power. And so it is. And so we let it be.
Let it draw near and let it come in. Let it pass through and let it go. Let it draw near.
Thank you, Reverend Ogun, for the spoken word this morning. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the beautiful souls who volunteer as prayer chaplains. Please rise if you are able. These wonderful people can meet with you for prayer or for gratitude or to simply sit with you in silence after service today. They will hold your prayers and intentions in the strictest of confidence. Also, if you are in need, we have home and hospital prayer chaplains that will do visits at home for recuperation or hospital stays. Please see Reverend Annie Houghton or one of the home and hospital prayer chaplains today if you have questions. Ann is here. Anybody else? And Nancy, Catherine. Okay. Remember, you can also submit your prayer request in the prayer box, which is located in the back of the room. And Unity on the River now has a dedicated phone line that takes prayer requests as well. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will pray over your request. And now's the time in our service where we prepare our tithes and offerings. Please hold them and breathe in your energy of abundance as we say our affirmation. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
This is going to be an instrumental piece by a gentleman named Robert Hunter called Stella Blue. Right. Thank you, Keith. So go into that place of gratitude in your heart. Let us give thanks for these gifts. So whether you gave here, you gave online as one of our live stream viewers, or you have an automatic tithe coming from your bank account, however you choose to invest in your spiritual community, we are grateful. And in the true practice of abundance, we tithe a portion of these back into the service of local Amesbury charities and community services and the wider unity movement. We are grateful to be this channel of abundance, and so it is. Amen and amen. Thank you, guys. Couple of announcements also. You remember a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, we had a meeting after service around Michael Murdad and the email that he sent out. Some of you may have seen a recent email again from them, and they wanted to clarify that the emails that came originally were from his staff and not from him. He's open to coming again, which, and Tina, and who's our board president, and myself had said, again, we're always open to him coming, but we need to talk to him directly because that raises more questions than it does provide answers for us. If it's his staff sending these things, is he in agreement with them? Is he not knowing they're coming out from the staff? Where's all of this? But we won't spend a lot of time talking about that now. We'll talk more about that at our annual meeting, which is my second reminder. Our annual meeting is coming up on January 27th. This is a very important meeting in addition to electing new board members. And by the way, we would love some more of you who are members to consider running for the board. We have some people who are rolling off the board because it's the end of their term, and we need to replace them so that we are in integrity with our own bylaws. If you are remotely interested, please talk to Malik. Malik, raise your hand so people can see you or stand. Talk to Malik about that. Also, at that annual meeting, we will be presenting with you some facts and figures around the ownership of the property. As I have said a few times before, given our relationship with our dependents on rental income, might this be the time we consider having a different arrangement? Might we sell part of the property? Might we sell all the property? What do we need to do to kind of get off of this roller coaster of, when there's a good rental income, we're in a good place financially, and when there's not rental income, we're not. Again, we're here to be spiritual community. My feeling is that we're not here to be property managers, but this is something that we have to talk about and decide as a community, and part of that is taking facts and figures, i.e. knowledge, but then coming from a place of divine wisdom about it. So we'll be sharing a lot more of that at the annual meeting. So please mark your calendars. It's going to be right after service on January the 27th. Thank you. And I know Gina's got some more thank yous as well.
Yes, some more thank yous. It takes so many people who give their time to help with Sunday service. Thank you all that do sacred service. This week's angels, Noah, Hannah, and Susan. Thank you to the teams, the altar team, the hospitality team, the greeters, the ushers, and this music team as well. Thank you, board members. Board members, if you're here, would you please stand? They are available after service if you have questions. And thank you to all who make Wednesday night service happen. This week will be Samadhi and meditation service that will be led by Manny Miros. And now, the big song, Jump Down Jesus.
Jump Down Jesus. Welcome back, Lucian Parkin.
Your Jesus boots back on. Put Jesus boots back, Jesus boots back, Jesus boots back on. Be a part of what makes us dance. Be a part of what makes, part of what makes, part of what makes us dance. Sacred Heart, your body's beauty knows no fault. Jesus whispers from the dark of the temple vault, fixing us over and over and over again for every stupid thing we do. Forgiveness 24/7. Jump down, Jesus, jump down. Give us back a living man. Give us back a living, give us back a living, give us back a living man. Jump down, Jesus, jump down. Ever begotten again. Ever begotten, ever begotten, ever begotten again. Jump down, Jesus, jump down. Show us how heaven's at hand. Show us how heaven, show us how heaven, show us how heaven's at hand. Our body's beauty knows no fault. Perfection shorted out by our tongues weighing thoughts. Now come you hot-blooded angels whipping the guitars on the flag, moving the prophet's lips. Get up and dance. Come down to Jesus, jump down. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down.
Jump down, Jesus.
Jump down. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down, Jesus. Jump down. That's great, thanks, God. These guys are amazing.
We got to take the show on the road. That was awesome. Our children will not be coming in at today, so if you are a parent and your child's over there, please be sure to get them off the service. Don't leave them here. We love them, but that's not what we signed up for. So let's wrap up our service. Please stand, take the hand of your neighbor, affirm the truth. For the children, for ourselves, for the entire world indeed. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We are the power of God.
And the presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
All together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and we are richly blessed.